We said Hit can hide in a separate space he has created by storing time he skipped in the real world and leaves a phantom of himself. In Dragon Ball Super episode 111, Hit got eliminated by Jiren. Hit is the number one asset of Universe 6, most probably the strongest. The two new Namekians doesn't look all that powerful. Without Hit, I don't think Universe 6 stands a chance at winning the battle at all. Kabe and Caulifla are just Super Saiyan level. Even if they improve during the tournament, they can only get a little bit stronger. Kale might turn out to be a real threat, but still not good enough to win it. With only half the tournament, Universe 6, the second most loved universe, is already out of the equation. That's kind of unsettling. Also, one of the lead Dragon Ball Super writers, Toshio, back in July, stated that he was waiting for the Hit vs Vegeta rematch, and that he is excited. And Dragon Ball Super was on episode 99 or 100, so yeah, during the Tournament of Power. He's also the same guy who hinted a lot of stuff previously and it turned out to be accurate, like Super Saiyan God Goku. His recent tweet says he's writing episode 112 and 115. He is a Vegeta fan and often leads Vegeta-centric episodes. I wonder if 115 might have something to do with Hit. In a matter of fact, everything about Hit's elimination looked weird. The fact that Jiren overpowered him was not weird. The problem is not with the fact that Jiren eliminated Hit either. It's just with how it happened, and the aftermath. Hit getting eliminated basically makes Universe 6 worthless, and goes against some of the plots that were hinted and we were expecting to see. What if Hit actually did not get eliminated? And we are up for the biggest shock ever. A master plan so good that will baffle everyone. If you look at Hit's apparent elimination, it wasn't done like they do it for a major character. Hit thrown flying away from the stage while still being conscious and not finding a way to stay in was unsettling. Afterward, Zeno didn't press the button on God app that he presses when someone gets eliminated. Granted, it was not shown every time someone got eliminated, you still would think they would show it when it came to Hit, because Hitman Hit is like the number one important character of Universe 6. That could be overlooked, but it adds up to Hit getting thrown away, getting enough time to do something but not doing it, an overall underplay of what's supposed to be his elimination. Maybe they did it like that because they knew it's not his real elimination and that he will be back. According to this theory, the one we saw get eliminated is not actually Hit but a clone or phantom of Hit, and that Hit is actually still in the stage. During his fight versus Jiren, Hit used time skip over and over again, and the reasoning he gave was that he did it to memorize Hit's attack pattern and timing with his body movement. But what if that allowed him to also store a lot of time which he could later use? Again, just like we said, Hit can hide in a separate space he has created by storing time he skipped. In the real world, he leaves a phantom of himself. And Hit repeatedly used time skip on Jiren like he never did before with anyone else. Maybe the alternative plan was storing time so he could hide, leaving behind his phantom if it came down to it. After Jiren broke out of Hit's time cage, they could have shown a clear elimination with Jiren pushing Hit right out of the stage, or totally knocking him unconscious and then throwing him out clearly. But instead, they did it in a way that leaves an opportunity of raising questions. There were some moments after the blast exploded on Hit and we saw Hit falling off the stage, and it did look the rhythm was missing. The scene looked kind of forced. In the world of fiction, when they kill a major character and have plans of bringing them back, they leave holes like this which they later use for the shock. In this case, we do have that hole. After a key blast of Jiren hit, Jiren was not paying attention. The smoke or intense light from the explosion blocked our view. Now, we don't know what happened between the time the blast contacted him and the time we saw him again on screen falling off while screaming. By the way, this is not the first time Hit is gonna fake a defeat. In a matter of fact, him pretending to lose to Monaka could as well have been foreshadowing this in a fun way. Now, let's take a look at something that looks kind of wrong or inconsistent with the last shot Jiren took against Hit. Firstly, when they cut back to Hit, it looked like he was going out from a comparatively lower point than the attack was supposed to send him towards. Look at how Kale's body reacts to the attack. Now this brings us to another point. The thing is, fighters like Hit and Goku are really talented. When they see an attack getting used in front of them, they mentally start breaking it down and preparing for it. The funny thing is, Jiren used the absolute exact same attack against Hit as he used it against Kale. It gets even better because Hit was standing right in front of him, observing Jiren use a one-shot attack to take down. You can't tell me Hit didn't break that attack given he was paying full attention. Even Kale was not eliminated by it. Now, there's a lot Hit could have realized from that. He knew this was one of Jiren's finishing touch attack, and also facts like Jiren turns back once the attack connects his target, closes his eyes, and for a moment stops paying attention out of overconfidence. Phantom Hit was saying to Champa the moment he failed to take him down with a single strike, his loss was confirmed. What if just when Hit realized Time Cage won't work, he instantly decided to hide, but unless he faked getting eliminated, Jiren would search and find him. Now, suddenly Hit remembers about that Jiren's finisher attack and lures Jiren into using that. Now, Hit observed the attack standing right in front of Jiren the first time they kind of checked out each other, and was interfered by Goku. Anyways, turns out that first introduction meeting was resourceful. Now Hit knew exactly when Jiren's attention is lost, and also the fact that this attack would create a distance and immense light from the explosion, distracting everyone, so he could instantly hide in the short time and leave a phantom to fall out of the stage. There's one more freaking interesting observation. Now, like I said before, it was already unsettling that Hit was falling out while still being conscious, and he should have been able to somehow force himself back to the stage. When tough fighters like him get eliminated, they either have to go unconscious or something like what happened to Goku should be happening to them. But in this case, he still had consciousness. Apart from that, the real deal actually, if the Ki Blast was so powerful that you're out to not have any control over your body, you're just supposed to fall out of the stage just as you are, usually on your back, because remember, if Hit has control over his body, he should be able to prevent that. But if you go slow-mo, we see something interesting at the very last moment. Just before crossing the stage line, Hit flips. Hit turns his body around in a way that he got control back. If you look back at some of the other eliminations where a fighter was overpowered with a key shot, they go flying right off the stage. Here, you can see the Cell looking guy falling out, then there's two Universe 9 warriors, Giam, the green bird, Majora. None of them turned on their own while falling. Now, we do not know exactly when Hit went into hiding. It could be when the blast took place or at this point just before he supposedly fell off the stage, where even with slow-mo we couldn't see what was happening, and that is above the stage level. He might have used his cleverest techniques right then. The main point is either then or after the blast, Hit could have easily used time skip left behind a phantom while hiding himself with the bounce of stage. Now moving on to some other aspects. The Great Priest announcing Hit dropped out while the Great Priest is supposed to have heightened sense. Him as well as other angels are seemingly having a hard time keeping up with what some of these exceptional immortals are doing. The Great Priest basically also took it for granted that Goku was vaporized and thus eliminated. He was even gonna explain why Jiren wouldn't be responsible for it. So this incident makes it clear that even the Great Priest might not detect some of the mortal activities and do not know absolutely what exactly is going on. Conveniently enough, just after that incident, the tournament reached the halfway mark when the Great Priest announces that and adds a dramatic green effect. I wonder if the Xenos forget about pushing Hit's button due to that, and this might be one of the things that Imagine how badass it would be if Hit returned at the end game stage of the tournament. He appears and makes everything clear. I guess even if Zeno pushed that button, if Hit were to reappear in the stage while his clone disappeared, I guess the Great Priest would announce his return and he would be taken off the elimination list since it's legit technique allowed by the rule. Also notice one line he'd say to Jiren while using time skip: "It's my job. You'll be joining me to the end." So it's possible that Hit always had the idea of dragging the fight till the very end of the tournament. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe Hit had this entire thing planned to be taken to the last minutes. Now, there's two legit arguments against this. That is, Hit's clone is not supposed to be able to talk or grow, but firstly, Hit always used the technique while in combat situations. Maybe he can create a clone that talks much like that of Tien's, and he can control it, but only for a non-combat purpose. Maybe because he does not have to deal with attacking and defending, he can fully concentrate on that. Back on the Goku vs Hit encounter on Earth, even though it's not clear, on some moments it looked like Hit was able to talk while only presenting his phantom or glowing after coming in contact. Although I'm not sure about that. Anyways, the point is, for it to align with the theory, this is either a cloning technique Hit always knew or one that he recently developed, because fighters like Hit are about constantly improving. Here in this theory, his original self is hiding on the stage while the clone is for deceiving us, and he actually controls his phantom like it's him. And Hit is really good at hiding his presence, and even on Earth, Goku wasn't able to detect for most of the fight despite knowing he was there. You can see how he walks right into the building and goes right up to the boss without anyone able to see or trace a single thing. Well, that's about all for the theory part. Now guys, do understand that just because I'm covering this theory doesn't mean this is a prediction I'm betting on. In fact, I'm quite aware that this is highly unlikely to happen. I would say there's only a 5% chance of this happening maybe. So don't be coming back and saying how it didn't go like, I know, right? But a lot of fans are commenting about it, and I have always been the guy to talk about all kinds of outcomes just if it sounded fun or interesting. So I just went in to see if it was actually possible, and I think it was good enough to be a theory. I don't think it was wise to have Hit eliminated using the same exact attack Hit saw getting used versus KO. Some of the points stand solid in pointing out what they shouldn't have done. However, I personally do not think Hit is coming back because they tried to highlight how better Jiren was by making him eliminate Hit, the biggest deal before him. Besides, while narrating the theory, I described everything in a way that fits the narrative of it. There are many flaws, like the Dragon Ball writer thing mentioned. He himself explained that his English is not that good. Looks like he often uses translators. So he might just have been personally expecting Hit vs Vegeta rematch and we just took it in a different way. Anyways, although I understand the reality of Hitman Hit being eliminated, from an emotional perspective, I think it would be totally badass if like a genuine shock, something that can make us clap. If I were in charge, I would make it happen. Well, that's about all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, whether you actually think it will happen or not.